Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Gaming. This is the second time that I'm making this video, because the first time I really screwed up and just had like this one scene on the screen and went through everything, and it's just like it was a mess. So, welcome. We're doing a Let's Build video for this super awesome deck that I created, and I think that this deck is really fun, and we're just gonna get right into it. Okay, so what are we doing? Well, the thing is that we got this really cool thing. It is these guys, Gambit and Rogue. They just came in. I got them on Friday. I playtested this Gambit deck that I made, and that is who we're going to do tonight. It's Gambit. Remy LeBeau, the Ragin Cajun. Alright. He is a 3 recovery mutant thief, and his alter ego side has an action, Thief Extraordinaire. It is a thwart. Exhaust Remy LeBeau, and look at the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. Discard one of those cards. Remove threat from a scheme equal to the number of boost icons on that card. What that means is that it is these icons here that you find at the bottom right of the encounter cards in the encounter deck. So, what he can do is basically look at the top 2 cards, choose one of those 2, and make that how much threat is going to be removed from a scheme. And he gets to pick the scheme, and it can be whatever number of boost icons there are. Sometimes there's 3, sometimes there's 2, sometimes there's none. Sometimes you may whiff and you just get a boost ability and a blank one. It's possible, but at least you get to look at them and discard one of them, and you still did the ability. And by still doing the ability, it allows you to fire off the Thieves Guild, which is one of his cards. That is a 1-cost support alter ego response. After you resolve your Thief Extraordinaire ability, exhaust the Thieves Guild, remove 1 threat from a scheme. If this removes the last threat from that scheme, draw 1 card. So he can essentially remove, okay, let's say if you pulled this as your encounter card, he's removing 2 threat and he's removing a 3rd one. Well, there's a 3-threat thwart on an alter ego side. If it's the last threat, he gets to draw a card. So now he's at from 6 hand size to a 7. That's awesome. He is the best alter ego thwarter in the game, by far. He also comes along with Rogue as his signature ally. She is a 4-cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. She has aerial, and she's an X-Men, obviously. She reduces the cost to play Rogue by 1 for each charge counter on your identity, and she has toughness, which means she just plays with a tough status card. She's really awesome. So you're wondering what those charge counters are, because I didn't look at the Gambit side. He is a 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 defense hero. Okay, not a lot of thwart, but he's thwarting on his alter ego side, so it's fine. You're not going to really use his base thwart. You're going to be using his attack, and you're going to be using his defense, because those are his key stats. As such, he comes packed with a Justice deck, which is pretty cool because he's got some nifty cards that play off of his alter ego stuff. So he has 2 actions on his hero card. One is charge a card. It is an action. Place 1 charge counter here, limit once per round. So once per round you get to load him up with a charge card. And those charge counters are going to be used for the throw a card ability, which is an interrupt when you play an attack event. So it has to be an event card that you play out of your hand or out of a deck, however it gets played. If it's played, it's played, and you get to use this ability. You remove up to 3 charge counters from Gambit, or here, they say, but basically the charge counters that you've built up, you can remove up to 3 of them, and that event deals +1 damage for each counter removed. You remove 3 counters, you get +3 damage to that event. All damage in that event gets this bonus. So if you have a melee, it's 3 damage, 3 damage. It's going to be 6 damage, 6 damage. If you have a 1x1, it's 5 damage, 5 damage. It's just how it is. And if it's a multi-attack card, do this attack for 2 damage, do this attack for 2 damage. Each of those is going to get that +3 damage because it's amplifying the event, not an attack. That's a very key difference to make. Super cool. And he's using basically those cards that he's charging up and throwing because that's his superpower ability, his mutant ability is to charge things with kinetic energy and create a blast with them. Okay? He comes equipped with his Gambit Staff. It's a 1-cost upgrade. When an enemy attacks, exhaust Gambit Staff, deal 1 damage to that enemy. So he has a singular, basically, what do you call it? Retaliate. You exhaust it and you can retaliate 1. It's basically how that is, except that it's not affected by ranged, so anything attacks him if they have, you know, a ranged attack, he still can do this ability and deal 1 damage to them. He also comes with Gambit's Guild Armor. After Gambit defends against an attack and takes no damage, because he has that awesome 3 defense here, exhaust the armor and ready Gambit. So he can defend for 3 and be ready to do stuff for the next round. Pretty cool. And he's also dealing 1 damage with his staff. And then we get into his events. He has 3 of this one. It is a charged card. 2-cost event. Attack and superpower traded. Hero action attack. Deal 4 damage to an enemy for this attack. If Gambit's throw to card ability removed at least, so if you used his throw to card ability and you remove at least 1 counter, you're going to get ranged. 2 counters, you're going to get piercing and ranged. 3 counters, you're going to get overkilled, piercing, and ranged. So it's cumulative, 1, 2, or 3, and you get that one plus the one above it. And that's how that works. So that's pretty cool. You do 3 on there, so it's a 7 damage overkill attack with piercing and range. So if there's a tough minion out there, you can deal 7 damage with overkill. Take off that tough and keep going. He comes with the Royal Flush. It's a 3-cost event. It's expensive, but that's fine. And we'll get to that. Let's see. It is a hero action attack. Place 1 charge counter on Gambit. Deal 0 damage to an enemy. Deal 0 damage to an enemy. Deal 0 damage to an enemy. So, you use his charge the card ability to remove up to 3 counters. And each of those 0 damage attacks becomes 1, 2, or 3 damage attacks. So you spend 3 to deal basically 9 damage because you're not going to want to play. You're not going to spend 3 damage to do 6, or you're not going to spend 3 resources to do 6 damage. You're not going to spend 3 resources to do 3 damage. You're going to spend 3 resources to do 9 damage. 3, 6, and 9. And then when you do that, you're also going to gain a charge counter. So you spend your 3, and then you gain your 1. You can't use that 1 that you gain as part of the 3 that you spent. And that's okay. So you're basically going to only be spending 2 to deal 9 damage. Pretty nice. And it works out well. Those charge counters also apply to his defense. He has 3 defense to start. Then this 0-cost event, Hero Interrupt Defense. When you defend against an attack, so you have exhausted to defend, place 1 charge counter on Gambit. So you do that. You exhaust to defend, play this card, put a charge counter on. If he already has 3, now he's got 4. If he already has 2, he has 3. That's basically how that works. Then for each charge counter on Gambit, you get +1 defense for that attack. So his 3 becomes however many charge counters. So 3 plus 3 is 6. 3 plus 6 is 9. However many are there, that's how many he gets to add to his defense. You have 10 of them there, he's defending for 13. It's ridiculous. He also has the Creole Charmer. 2-cost event, Thwart, Alter Ego action. An Alter Ego Thwart card. That's right, That's what Gambit does. He thwarts an alter ego. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. If it removes the last threat from that scheme, confuse the villain. Okay. So you're gonna thwart an alter ego, confuse the villain, have a safe turn. What can go wrong? Nothing, because it's not Star-Lord. And then, he's got all those expensive things going on there, right? Well, that's okay, because he comes equipped with his own 2 double resource cards. And if you play them in your hero form, you're gonna get to add a charge counter onto Gambit. So it like entices you to want to use these in your hero form, but you can use them at any time. It doesn't matter. It's okay, because you're still gaining charge counters when you're flipping back and forth. And that's how you want to play Gambit. You want to flip him all the time. Each turn he's going to flip to hero side or alter ego side, one or the other, but he's going to be constantly going back and forth. Because that's the best way that he plays. That's how he wants to play. Play him that way, because it is phenomenal. Okay. That's his cards. Let's get into what we're bringing to the table. We're going to start off with his 2 resource generator cards. X-Gene and Def Focus. We all know Def Focus. This reduces the cost of a superpower you play by 1. Well, he's got plenty of superpower cards. He's got Royal Flush. He's got the charged card. So there's 5 superpower cards that's going to affect. That's pretty sweet. But that's not all. He's also got the X-Gene. And you exhaust that one for a wild resource to do an identity-specific event. So if you have both of these in play, these guys are free. You exhaust both of them and you can play that card. And now it's only 1 card that you had to take out of your hand, and now you still have 4 others or 5 others, however many you still have. It's also going to reduce this by 2. So now that card costs 1. And that's awesome. That's awesome. You can't go wrong. So that's why we're bringing both of those, because they really, really help. Resource-wise, we're bringing the Trifecta, Genius, Energy, and Strength, and we're bringing Passion for Justice, because he's got the Thwart event that this can apply to. It's going to take off an extra 1. So that's going to be 4 removed with that Creole Charmer and Confuse. Then we're going to bring Breaking and Entering for thwarting as well. By Breaking and Entering, well, it's a 2-cost event. So you can pay for it with Passion of Justice. It's going to remove another one. So it's a thwart, play only if your identity has the Spy or Thief trait. And Gambit is Thief traded on both sides of his card. He's a Thief on the hero side, Thief on the alter ego side. And the action, thwart, remove 3 threat from a scheme. Now, I've been told that For Justice is better for him. I disagree. I've been told that Lay Down the Law, the one that you can thwart when you go to hero form, is not so great. I disagree on that as well, but I'm not running that in this deck. But with Gambit wanting to flip every turn, basically if you have a Lay Down the Law, you're going to get to use it. And that is a great card to have in a deck. Breaking and Entering is better than For Justice because it can be played in either form. And since Gambit is constantly flipping, if you have it in your hand, you're going to get to play it. Whereas if you have a For Justice in your hand and you're in alter ego form, you're not going to get to play it. If you're in hero form, you will get to play it. This one here doesn't care. Play it in alter ego, play it in hero, is going to do the same thing. So that's why this one's in the deck, and that's why it's awesome with Gambit, because he's constantly flipping, so you never know what form he's going to be in when he gets these cards. Oh, okay. So there's that. Then we're bringing some allies. We've got Blindfold and we've got Marvel Girl. These 2 are awesome. Blindfold really helps Gambit's alter ego ability, because she's going to look at the top 5 cards. She's going to get rid of one of those 5 cards, and then you're going to know what those 5 cards are, right? Or one of them's gone, now 4 cards. So you know which one is going to be the next 2 that Gambit's going to do with his ability. And so you can pick one of those two that he's going to use. Maybe it's a 0 and a 3. So you discard the one that's going to be 3, and now you can remove 3 threat. And now you have 3 more cards that are going to be going through. So it's like really cool to get that, intel beforehand. Marvel Girl is really cool. I love having her in my Justice decks because she's a 2 thwart, 1 attack, and 3 health ally who interrupts when she attacks. She's going to take the scheme of the minion that she's attacking and take that much threat off of a scheme, off of the main scheme. So if you are attacking, let's say this guy, she's going to deal 1 damage to him, bring him down to 5, and then she's going to take 2 threat off of the main scheme. Well, I love that. I want to take 2 threat off the main scheme. Why not? Cool. So that's a great way to also thwart that main scheme down while then using Gambit's ability to take down those side schemes. Then Gambit came with these 2 other allies that I think are awesome and work really well with him. One is Dazzler. She is a 4-cost ally with 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 3 defense, or 3 health, and she is going to, when she enters play, confuse an enemy. So she's like Professor X, but she can also attack. She doesn't thwart as much, but that's fine. She's expensive, but he's got all of these double resource cards. He's got double resource out the wazoo. And then we have Bishop, who's a 3-cost ally, 2 thwart, no attack, but he's got a star. Oh, what's the star? Okay. He has 3 health. Response: after an enemy attacks you, place 1 energy counter here. Not you, your identity. You as a player. So if you're being attacked and you defend with an ally, it still counts, and you put a counter on Bishop. Then when Bishop attacks, you take off those counters and you add up to 6 depending on the number of counters you remove. Right? For each counter removed, he gets +2 attack for that attack to a maximum of +6 attack. So if you do it right, and there's 3 attacks done, you can have Bishop attack for 6. And then if there's 3 more attacks done the next turn, you can have Bishop attack for another 6. So you basically want to play him out and let him do his thing. Just collect those tokens and take, deal out 12 damage with them. Those are cool. And you know what the really funny thing is? That's all the Justice cards we're packing. Let's get into what the other stuff is. So, what this deck does is it uses all of those cool support cards. We are going to bring Professor X, Blindfold, and Marvel Girl all make it able to be Cerebroed, so you can find any ally in your deck and put them in your hand to play them. Professor X is going to confuse the villain or stun a minion, or he's going to ready an X-Man. So maybe you want Bishop to attack twice that turn. He's got enough counters to do so. Go for it. Let him do it. Bishop alone could take off like half the health of a villain, if not more. So there you go. He's also going to be great for blocking, and he's going to be great for thwarting. So you can thwart 3 with him. Okay, that's great. And we're also going to bring Moira McTaggart. She's a new card. Play only if your identity has the mutant trait. So you can only play that when you're on your alter ego side, which Gambit's always going to be flipping, so it's fine. After a mutant alter ego changes into hero form, again, Gambit's always flipping, exhaust Moira, and that hero's controller draws a card. So she's going to get to let you draw a card every single time you flip to your hero form. And since you're constantly flipping, that's why she's there. We're also going to bring an honorary X-Men so that we can use the X-Jet and alter ego, as well as have the Utopia trigger every time we play an ally, and ready us to do Gambit's thwarting ability on his alter ego side twice in a turn. There's those. And finally, to wrap it all up, we're going to bring an X-Mansion. that's going to allow us to heal the damage from a mutant or X-Man character. And since he's a mutant, and any other player who's a mutant may use that ability, we're going to bring a Weapon X, which you exhaust Weapon X and take a damage. Then you discard cards from your deck until you discard an identity-specific card, and then you add that card to your hand. So Weapon X is fishing for your super awesome cards, like Royal Flush and Charged Card, or, you know, maybe it's gonna pull up your Natural Agility just in time, or it's gonna get your Creole Charmer so that you can thwart down a scheme some more. You know, it's anything can be there, and there you have it. It's gonna be there, because Weapon X is gonna find it for you. And then, because you spent all those cards, we also have the Mutant Education. So, you know, you didn't use that Royal Flush, but you can have it as a resource. You spent it as a resource. Use your Mutant Education, shuffle those back into your deck. Since you have the X-Mansion out, now you can draw a card. Maybe you pull one of those Royal Flushes out of that deck, because your deck is so thin, because now you have all of these super awesome supports out in play, and all you've basically got is these events and Mutant Education in there to go and grab things for you. And that's the deck. That's how it works. It works by fishing out all of Gambit's cards and letting Gambit's cards do all of the work. Well, Gambit is thwarting an alter ego, like some crazy man, and then letting his allies do thwarting and attacking as they come out and do their thing. I have playtested this deck, and it is bonkers crazy fun. You put out all of these supports as you go along. You do all your things. You control the game from start to finish. You never feel like you're going to lose when you play this way. When you play Gambit and use Gambit's cards and use all of these supports to get Gambit's cards into play and let Gambit do what Gambit does. It's awesome. I think that you could also do this kind of style with any other aspect. Just grab some allies and get a nice event. Grab their resource cards, and that's basically it. You keep everything else the same, and you just replace those. What do we got? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Replace those 9 cards and swap them around. I think it's awesome. It plays out really, really well, and Gambit is super fun to play. He's got, like, they nailed it with him. He's got the ability to charge up his cars and do all the things. He can take out minions, he can take out the villains, he can take out the schemes, like everything that needs doing, he's there to do. He's the Black Widow of the X-Men. That's what he is. Constantly flipping, constantly doing things with everything that he's got at his disposal. That's really what he is. And he's exceptionally good at it. Of note, this breaking and entering card would be really, really nice in a Black Widow deck, because you could play it in your alter ego form if you have the spy or thief trait. Black Widow is a spy trait on her alter ego side. She could play this card from her alter ego. But she's also got access to all those shield cards that also play on either side. So that's another way you could probably do it too, if you really needed to. You could play Gambit with shield cards, and I bet he would do awesomely well with that as well. That's all I got. That is the Gambit deck. It's super cool, super fun, super fast. It's insane. It's ridiculously crazy. And I love it. Tomorrow night we have Monday Night Marvel. And tomorrow night I will be playing with Rogue. That's right. We're gonna do Rogue tomorrow night. I have a protection deck made for her, and we're gonna go over it. I'll show you what my plans are for it, and we'll play it through and see how it does. And I think it's gonna be really, really cool. If you're looking for this deck, it is on Marvel CDB. It's called Play the Cards. And yeah, it's there. And it's super cool and it's super fun, and I hope you have a blast playing with your Gambit, And if you want to try out this deck, go for it. That's all I got. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you could, please, because it really helps my channel, and leave some comments because I respond to all of them. That's it. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend.